Got a tin of Thatchers, and had Thatchers for a while actually. Not haze anyway. It's quite nice. Brilliant when it's sunny, isn't it? Love a good cider when it's warm weather. Very refreshing. Anyway. Or till next time. Anyway, let's just end it there. Right, hey guys, we're back on a bank. Welcome to another vlog. We're on the Syndicate. This is the Fields Lake. Now, you actually joined me at the end of an awesome session. Me and Hugh have both had some fish. It's been really productive. This morning it's kicked right off for me, and I've had, I think, 4 fish. One of them was topped by a really nice common. So I want to take you back in time to about 2 days ago when we turned up. Hugh only did 1 night, but I was doing 2. So I'm going to take you back to when it's probably about 30 minutes after we got here. We had a little scout around, and we found some fish. And this happened. Enjoy. Rod was in the water for about 20 minutes, and it went whizzing off. I put another rod out, same spot, and literally it was out there for about 20 seconds and it went off. I've now got 2 in the net. I give Hugh a call, who's come round, and as he come into the swim, I thought I'd chuck another rod out just while I'm waiting, and would you believe that went off? Unfortunately it snagged me in something, and it did end up dropping off in the end, but still we got 2 in the net. Let's get them out and have a look. Absolute carnage going on there. Right, I've just had this awesome black common just on a bag, just close in after watching a few fish. Probably mid doubles, maybe 15ish, but well happy with that. I've got another one to show you, so we get that out, have a look at that one. Boom. There's a really angry one, so I'm going to have to do this pretty quick. But getting off that margin spot. Oh dear. I'll turn him round. Right, there's the other side. Like I said, a lovely dark old thing. He's really angry. I'm going to get him back. It's been good so far. I've actually had a couple of fish. I've actually had 3 bites. I lost one of them, unfortunately. But the other 2 were mid doubles. One was a common, one was a mirror. Lovely dark fish. Looked stunning, immaculate. The mirror was actually Cable's fish, so I ended up getting one of the bailiffs, Craig, to come up, and we just shipped that one over into Cable's, the other syndicate. And there's a couple of fish in there that were actually put in there because they hadn't finished the work on Cable's, and so when they get caught, we've basically got to put them in a retainer and get a bailiff to help escort them across to the lake over the other side of the fence. So anyway, what's happening? It's looking nice. You can probably see there's a bit of a slick. That's because I put some bait out, not fishing too far out. About just under 13 wraps. Found a lovely little silty spot amongst some weed. Quite a small spot, probably only really good enough for 2 rods. Maybe 3 at a push, but I've just got 2 on it for now. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with my 3rd rod. And I've put about 12 spoms, just a mix of pellet and boilie. It's pretty much all we can use. So I've put a few different liquids and that on it. I'll show you all that stuff at some point, but it's looking good. Hopefully we can get a fish. I am feeling pretty confident, and we're going to go and have a barbecue in a minute, so I'm looking forward to that as well, to be honest. So anyway, I'm not going to babble too much. I'm going to try and find a spot for the 3rd rod, and I also need to sort this mess out down here. A little bit carnage since I've got in here. I had to tie up some spare bags and sort out the stuff and that, so it's a little bit carnage, but we'll sort that mess out, get another rod out, and then we'll nip into Hugh swim and go and get some food on the go. So anyway, hopefully next time I update you, it'll be with a carp. See you in a bit.
So then the barbecue's on. Starter is some minted lamb kebabs from Asda. So hopefully they won't disintegrate when I try and turn them in a minute. I think Sean's got the main course, which is some chicken breast, and dessert is a couple of Stellas, and I think Sean's on some ciders. So yeah, lovely evening. Hopefully some fish will come along as well. Right then, so we're just coming into early evening. We've just finished our barbecue. My left hand rod's gone rattling off. After a huge blanking spell, size is irrelevant. This is an absolute banger to have, and I must admit I'll be going to bed tonight absolutely chuffed. So we'll run a few bait and rigs in the morning. We'll slit this one back, and hopefully there'll be a few more in the night. Right, the number 2 middle rod's just gone ripping off. Nice little pink wafter. Nice, well, it's a bit of a crazy battle really. Came swimming straight at me for a little while and then went mental under the rod tip. But very happy to get number 2. Lovely little scaly banger. Fingers crossed for a few more in the night.
Awoke to a very damp morning. We'd had some heavy rain overnight, so the swim was looking a little bit sorry for itself. It being a quiet night for me, Hugh on the other hand had had a right result. He'd had one in the night and had another waiting in the net for some early morning photographs. So Hugh went back, put the kettle on for a morning brew. I woke myself up, grabbed the camera gear and walked into a swim to have a look at his prize. Couldn't resist a quick peek in the net before getting her out for the photographs. It was a lovely little mirror, great condition. What a result.
Right then, fish number 4, getting off the baited spot. Went rattling off about half an hour ago just before first light in the middle of a horrible rainstorm. But yeah, I'll put a bit more bait out and see if we can keep them going.
What you done there, mate?
Yeah, I know you're filming, Sean. Thanks for your help. You just keep blanking away. Oh. Now you come off.
I know you're struggling for bites.
Oh, what I was doing is, I was just showing how strong the new Nash rods are that I got.
Oh, okay.
So now, all 3 of them have been blessed with the presence of a fish.
Makes a change.
How you getting on? How'd you get on?
I've had a couple actually. I've had a couple.
How'd you get on last night?
I had a lovely sleep, mate. Lovely sleep.
I left Hugh to sort his rods after the fish had gone through his other lines. There was kit everywhere. As he was fishing further out than me, I decided to reposition 2 rods as maybe the fish were not as close in as I had initially thought. Once I had the rods positioned and they were all sweet, I grabbed the sounding box and went to Hugh swim next door. I could see smoke signals coming from under the Tempest. Time for a brew. Hugh was clearly in a good mood from his result. He even offered to make breakfast. Not sure about his singing though. Hugh had been keeping the bait going in little and often. It seemed to be paying off for him. He didn't have to wait long for his next bite.
What happened then?
Well, happy days, I guess. That was a palaver.
What number's that? Get in.
5, mate. Happy days.
Looks like just in time for breakfast. Someone else was clearly hungry.
Right then, fish number 5. Lovely little scaly one. Just put a few more spawns out and it's gone rattling off. So fingers crossed we can get number 6 shortly. Right, I'm all packed up and I'm off home now. Total of 5 fish and just dropped one off a minute ago, which I'm a little bit gutted about, but all in all it's been an awesome session.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to see you get a few bites, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I've had nothing in the swim next door, so I'm going to jump in here. I've just moved a few of my rods in, so I'm going to flick them out onto the same spot, look at it a little bit different, and probably try and get a bit more bait on there and see if I can get a better feeding response again. But hopefully I can get myself a few, and we can both grow them with a few fish.
Yeah.
So,
best of luck, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
See you later.
See you later. So once Hugh had headed off, I moved the rods into the swim and wrapped up to the spot that I've been producing the goods so far. I put fresh hook baits on the rigs. I'm currently using our version of the spinner rig, which we've named the Clawney. This is currently both of our go-to rig at the moment. I flipped one of the rods onto the spot, I hadn't even turned the buzzer on, and this happened. So the fish was putting up a great fight, and it was going from one little wee bed to the other, but then for some reason it seemed to just all lock up and go solid. I tried to get a bit of elevation and stood on the slightly raised bank behind me to see if I could get the fish to come out at the top of the weed, but it really wasn't happening, to be honest, and I was starting to think, oh dear, maybe I've lost it. So in the end I ended up giving it a bit of slack line, just holding on to the rod and just watching the line to see if the fish would start moving again. And lo and behold, the fish eventually started to sort of drift a little bit out the back of the weed, and I was back into it. Happy days. So once she was safely in the net, I couldn't resist but give Hugh a call and let him know the good news. Well, that didn't take long. So after 10 minutes of Hugh vacating the swim, my first rod that went out, donked down. I was out there a few minutes and off it went. About £16, another lovely mirror. They're all cracking strainer fish in here, so they all look really nice. Put up a great fight, got in a couple of wee beds, really gave me a scrap. But well happy. Right, there we go, there's the other side. Lovely fish. Hopefully we're in for a busy night. Fingers crossed. Sorted all the kit out, kind of got it all in there. I've been doing a little bit of rig prep since, and in anticipation hopefully for a couple of bites. But yeah, I had another bite anyway, but that's probably after about an hour and a half, but that one come off, got in the weed and the hook pulled. So that's a little bit disappointing, but it happened, you know. On waters with a bit of weed, you're always going to lose the odd one. It's just the nature of the lake, you know. It's going to be very hard to keep every fish on when you've got all that pressure coming from the weed. So I positioned 3 rigs tight on the spot. I decided to go in with a heavier baiting pattern than Hugh to gauge their response. 20 initial spods, then 2 or 3 every couple of hours depending on bites. Went a bit quiet. I was expecting it to be a little bit more prolific, and anyway, this one's gone off. Again, another mid double. Right then, I thought I'd just quickly show you what I use for bait. Now on the syndicate there's a rule of boilie and pellet only in the summer and the warmer months. Can use particles in the winter, but not in the summer. So it does restrict what you can use. So because of that, I try and sort of make it a little bit different so it stands out from everyone else's baited patch. Pellet wise, I just use a big mix of pellets. I just got a bucket here with a load of mixed pellet in. Probably got about 1.5 kilos, maybe 2 kilos of pellet there. I then use the nut mix, kilo of that, and then the tuna mix. I've used a little bit of this one already, but I use sort of 1 kilo of that. I tend to put a few of them through the old crusher just to get a few different bits and bobs down there. And to make it different and add a bit of extra attraction, I've got some of these. Now these are 12mm Nash baits. These are from the instant range. The darker ones are actually the squid, Scopex squid. And what I've done is I've put about probably 3 kilo into a bucket, poured a load of boiling water on it, left it overnight, and what that does is it soaks up all that water, gives the bait a washed out look so they're not so obvious, and also brings out all that attraction. You can then use that juice into your mix to add some extra attraction. The reason I like using them is because you can't use particles, you can't use corn, so you haven't got that flash of colour. I tend to like to use quite a light bright hook bait over the top of my food so the fish can sort of home in on it. But so that it doesn't look so obvious, I think having a couple of scoops of those in the mix, not loads, but just like a little flash of them, I think it actually makes the hook baits look less obvious. So there's sort of a scattering of colour around the area. Also, I think adds a bit of colour and maybe draws them in a little bit better. So that's how I make it a little bit different. Give it a go yourself, see how you get on. But that's pretty much the mix. I do a couple of things. I'll add a couple of oils. That way it gives me a indication when fish are on the spot. This stuff soaks into the bait, and when the fish come in and start disturbing it, it sends up a attraction of oil which flattens off the surface, so it gives you an indication that there's some fish out there having a go. You know, you might not be getting any bites, but you might get some coming up, and it might, you might think, right, okay, clearly I should be getting a bite, or change the hook bait, or do something, you know, to make it happen. So it gives you a bit of an indicator. Or even use the manila or the tuna, depending on how I feel at the time. Sometimes I like to go sort of more the fish side of things, sometimes I like to go more the creamy sort of sweeter side of things. So that's how I do it. I don't use too much, you know, just sort of a little bit of a covering and mix it all into it. I don't want to go over the top, but that's the approach. Hugh pretty much does the same thing as me. We use very similar tactics, very similar rigs. We like to kind of try and use the same tactics so we can work around lakes and try and find out what's going on. And you know, it works well for us, so give it a go yourselves, and hopefully you get a few on the boat. Hook bait wise, I'm actually using some new hook baits today, Proper Job pop-ups. So reasonably a small company. I think it's a guy that rolls them himself, I think, but they're really buoyant, like super buoyant. Hugh actually got recommended them by someone because he was trying to find some really buoyant hook baits, that we can start using and add our own flavours to, because he basically rolls them unflavoured. You can get them unflavoured. You can't get them flavoured, but you can get unflavoured ones, which is what we decided to get, and got them in white. That way we can add like things like liquid attractors and things like quarter goo and that way you can kind of make them your own colour, make them your own flavour, but they're super buoyant, so even if you add some liquid attractors to them, it won't sort of affect the buoyancy too much. They really are buoyant. I'm popping up a size 4 Nash claw with a 11mm pop-up, and I've actually still got I think a BB, I think it is, or a treble A, to counteract it, and it's still dropping softly. They are seriously buoyant. So yeah, I'm really happy with those, and that's what we've been using over the top. Been catching on a combination of pink and white.
And this is the spot where it all happened for me on the 21st of January 1995. In November 1904, we started to bait up. I mean Luc Coppens, Phil Cottonier and myself, so that was the original Benelux NES team. We have called Carp all over Europe with it, as well here in Belgium, and I also have 50s and almost 60s from Italy, Austria, France and so on, all on the same bait. So the Scottish squid boilies is for me certainly a bait I have a lot of confidence in.
Right, morning. Just put the brew on. So I woke up just on 6 o'clock, had an alarm set just so I could sort of wake up and maybe watch the water and see what's going on. But I literally woke up. I was kind of just sort of having a look out and trying to adjust. Actually do a little bit disorientate when you first wake up, and I was like, what's that noise? And suddenly realised my left hand rod was purring off. I mean, it's going to be for most of the morning, so I'm probably going to get wet, but I think I'm going to have to set the camera up underneath the brolly and stick the rod back on the spot and see if it goes again. See if I get a couple, it's going to be easier to just go out and get soaked once than getting soaked a couple of times. So anyway, we're getting that sorted, bring him out, have a look at him in a bit. I had one other bite in the night, unfortunately it dropped off. Anyway, I'm going to make a brew and we'll get her out. Next time you see me, I'll probably be holding the fish.
Double trouble. Good start to the morning.
Lovely chunky old mirror. I've got another one in the retainer, and that's a common. It went off after I'd recast it. The same rod went again. Fortunately this one's lost the scale, which is a bit of a shame, but I'm sure it'll grow back okay. Nice chunky old thing.
Right, I just photographed the first fish and slipped her back. As I was slipping her back, the other rod went off, so I've had a mirror which has gone back, I've got a common in the retainer, I've got a slightly bigger common in the net. I've only now got one rod on the spot. Morning carnage.
There she is. She's gone £20 9 ounce. Put up a nice scrap, absolute ripped line off the clutch. It's a shame I didn't have any of the GoPro out this morning, because I would have got some awesome footage of the fights, but look at that, what a stunning fish. First 20 out of here this year actually. I've only been catching sort of doubles, most of them been about £16, so it's nice to get one. I was expecting one, to be honest, what with getting so many bites. I was expecting to pick up a slightly better fish, but yeah, cracking, £20, 9 ounce. Had this one in the retainer, so I got the 20 out first, but lovely little thing. Set to be a bit bigger, I expect, in a few years. Lovely dark colours. But she was just sat in the retainer. He looked full of beans, so I'm going to get her back in a second. But yeah, cracking fish. Anyway, the rods are back on the spots. All three are actually out now. I managed to get all three out before doing the film work with the fish. So hopefully I can nab another one before I go. But it's definitely a little flurry of action this morning. I think that's 3 or 4 bites off the spot. So yeah, been a good session. So anyway, let's get her back. It had come to that time again, packing up. I'd had a great session. It was nice to see me and Hugh getting amongst some of the stock. Topped off by that stunning common that I had. All I had to do was reel in and head back to the car. That's not before the lake had one more little surprise for me. Okay. Don't know if you can see me, but I was just reeling in that rod to pack up. And the middle rod's gone waving off. After a bit of weed. It was another great battle, in and out of the weed beds. The fishing feels really are strong. It's a joy to watch them twisting and turning in the clear water under your feet. Get in! Right, I was just reeling in the rods, ready to go. I was reeling in the first one, and the middle rod went whipping off. It's a lovely little scaly one. They're clearly still out on the spot. It's a shame I got to go really, but the weekend guys are due on now. I'm already over a little bit, to be honest. I think it's about 2 minutes past 10. So if nothing happened, I would have been leaving on time, but now that this one's gone off, I'm a bit late, but no, I don't think anyone's turned it out, so I'm not really bothering anyone. But anyway, I think that's going to be the end of the video. So thanks for watching. It's been a great session. I think this is either number 8, 9, I'm not quite sure. Lovely way to finish it off, lovely scaly one. But it's been a brilliant session. If you've liked it, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. We'll be back out on again. We'll be back out on the bank again soon. Until next time, get out there and have a few yourselves. Tight lines. What cracker.